I'm Logan, a sophomore at the University of Kentucky. I'm worth approximately $10,000 annually to the university.
My name is Hunter. I'm a freshman at the University of Kentucky, and I'm worth about $12,000 to the university.
I'm Jessica, a freshman here at the University of Kentucky, and I'm worth about $16,000 annually to the university.
I'm Mike, freshman at University of Kentucky. I'm worth $29,000 annually to the university.
I'd like to start by telling you a story about college tuition and the effects it can have on students. The story is about a guy named Jason Yoder from Normal, Illinois. Jason was a graduate student in organic chemistry at Illinois State University. During that time, he racked up over $100,000 in student loans, and after all his schooling, he still had trouble finding a job after graduation. One day, his mother noticed he seemed more distant than usual, and worried about him after he left to go to the campus to do some work. Later that night, his mother met with a professor, and they went looking for him, finding him in one of the labs. He died of nitrogen asphyxiation. This means he went into the lab, started to let nitrogen flow into the room, and waited to die. College tuition increases every year, the average cost of tuition being $70,000 in a 4-year period, leaving each student with an average of $20,000 in debt. Now, the colleges will tell you that prices increase because inflation increases, the cost of living increases. But the price of college tuition increases at a far greater rate and a far greater percentage than inflation does, leaving us to wonder why the colleges still make us pay almost 10% more annually. Now, from the beginning of your schooling, from preschool to kindergarten, you're always told that in order to be successful in life, you have to go to college. If you want a good job, you go to college. If you want to make money, you go to college. If you want a good life, you go to college. The pressure of going to college is there from the time that you start school, and it is just assumed that when you go to college, you're going to acquire this debt. You don't think about it. You don't think about how you're going to pay for it later on in life. You just assume that you're going to have it. Now, this leads me to believe that the pressure of college always with the student, and the prices of college are set by the university, and the university knows that they're going to pay for those prices. And as whenever we can get the university to see the students as people rather than dollar signs, is when something can be changed. Whenever we can get the university to look at what they're doing on campus, look at how they're spending their money, think about it, budget it. Where are these students' money going? Is this student's money going directly to their education? Is this student's money going directly toward the furthering of their knowledge and their career path? And when we can get them to look at that, that is when something can happen. Whenever we can get them to look at a building they're about to build and realize that they don't need to make that building, that they have classrooms that are sufficient enough. When we can get them to look at they don't need that dorm just because it looks pretty on campus, but we have dorms that are sufficient enough. When we can do that, then maybe something can happen. Obviously, the students are going to go to the college no matter what. The students are going to attend college, and the colleges are taking advantage of that fact. The colleges know that they will pay whatever they put on that paper. And it's whenever we can get them to realize that they don't need to put that number on that paper, that they can lower that number and still give the education and still get all the funds that they need, then something can happen. Now, I know I'm repeating myself a lot here, but it's important to remember that it's the colleges that have the responsibility. This is the college's problem. This is not the student's problem. The college is the one that has to decrease the funds. The college is the one that have to lower tuition rates.
College tuition sucks. Take it from an out-of-state college student who had to seek help in order to stay where he felt he belonged. Tuition is already expensive now, but even worse is that it will keep on rising with no end in sight. Now, before I throw ridiculous, mind-blowing statistics at you and also show you how many different ways the high tuition cost actually affects us and the society we live in, let me share you a personal story on how college tuition has affected me and my life decisions. 2 years ago, it became time to start applying for college. I had applied to a total of 8 and was accepted to all 8. Ironically, University of Kentucky was my last choice school to apply to at first, until I had actually hopped on a plane and visited. This college, being out of state, posed a money problem towards my family. Being the 5th child and the last child going to college, my parents were starting to struggle to help pay for it. I had chosen this college because of the environment. I have felt that the student body here was not only friendly but also very attractive. Now, here's the real problem with choosing this school, was that it was the only school out of all 8 that had not offered me a scholarship. I had just about a full ride scholarship to all 7 of the other colleges for sports. I was a top-ranked kicker coming out of high school, already kicking 55-yard field goals. I decided to run the risk of going to this school knowing that I had 1 year's worth of money to try and earn a scholarship. Of course, I didn't receive any, and as a result, I had to look for an alternate way to pay for college. This is the problem. tuition prices. What if they weren't as high as they are? At least in my personal situation, I could have stayed in college for longer than I did. Who knows how many others could have benefited from lower prices? I'm not just a college student complaining and whining because I want more money in my bank account. This is a problem nationwide. Thanks to rising tuition and a tough job market, college seniors graduated with an average of nearly $27,000 in student loan debt last year. Getting an education is meant to get you ahead in life, but instead, you're fighting to stay on top of payments and hopefully, eventually, actually being ahead. Of the 1,057 colleges in the study, an average debt per graduate ranged from $3,000 to $55,000. At 114 colleges, graduates had the average debt above $35,000, while 64 colleges said that more than 90% of seniors graduated with debt. The increase in tuition costs comes at a time when unemployment has remained stubbornly high for college graduates, at 8.8% for 2011. Those without a college degree are more than twice as likely to end up without jobs, however. The unemployment rate for recent high school graduates was 19.1% last year. Of the college students that found a job, it's not even necessarily in their field. Sometimes the job doesn't even require a college education. I've read a few stories of individuals not doing what they thought they were going to do after college. The chemistry major tending bars, the classics major answering phones, or even the Italian studies major sweeping aisles at Walmart. These events sparked the debate whether a college education is even worth it. All these numbers, all these statistics, all these stories, and what's at the root of all this? What's to blame? Rising tuition cost. Not only is the tuition creating a hole of debt that college grads are struggling to get out of, but it has more effects than you would think. The economy, the gap between upper and lower class, the number of college graduates to high school graduates is growing with not much between. The fact is, the economy affects tuition greatly, and people's ability to pay for their tuition or pay off student loans. The job market just isn't keeping up with openings for all these graduating students, that it's even creating a more competitive environment. Young adults are struggling to make ends meet. Socially, imagine the college graduate not being able to find a job, having to live in his parents' house until he's 30 years old. Economics to personal life, tuition prices rising is not part of the solution, it is part of the problem. Tuition cost needs to be drastically cut, not only for individuals trying to make ends meet, but for the economy and the growth of this nation. People are struggling, and guess what the problem is? Tuition. So, in conclusion, college tuition sucks, and someone needs to start coming up with solutions for this problem.
Now, as I'm sure you all know, if there's an easy solution to this problem, then it would already been solved. Now, after researching and becoming very familiar with the subject over the past several weeks, the answer that we found is there isn't really a clear solution to this problem. There isn't a situation out there that we found that would benefit both sides equally. Students want tuition rates lowered, and this in turn will mean less money going into the universities. So this means that one side has to compromise, and as students we have no control over the cost of tuition. So what we have to do is try to convince universities across the country to work with us and try to lower tuition to make it more feasible for students to afford college. Now, universities can also take steps to change the skyrocketing cost of tuition because they are the cause of it. If colleges would step back and look at how they spend their money, they would probably find that there are large amounts of money that they can cut from the budget, and thus being able to make up the difference from what lowering tuition costs would cost them. What schools always seem to forget is that for a lot of people, especially low-income families, that it's hard to go to school without some form of assistance. Now, I'm one of these people. If it wasn't for financial aid, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. And I know this is true for many other students in many other universities. But if colleges across the country would start to reduce their tuition rates this would open up a huge new opportunity for people to attend college that otherwise wouldn't be able to go to a major university. So in the long run, and if colleges would step back and look and think about it from a new perspective, they could actually gain money from lowering tuition costs because they could gain more students, and more students mean more money. But if students try to work with universities to get tuition lowered, but the colleges don't budge on it, there is one other option that I could see working. That eventually students may have to start seeking opportunities at community college or technical colleges because they have significantly lower tuition rates, or possibly even not even considering going to college at all. But this isn't a solution to this problem. This shouldn't be the end to justify the means. This is on the universities. They're the ones skyrocketing tuition and making it not feasible for students to pursue an education. So in the end, it's really on the universities. But there are many solutions that could lead to lower tuition, and it won't be an easy fix. It'll take a huge number of people to stand up and get involved. Some ideas are better than others, and some won't work in every situation. We're definitely fighting an uphill battle, and without a doubt, it will take time. but this is something worth fighting for, and no matter how small it may seem, we all need to stand up and do something about it.
We have discussed the problem. Tuition needs to be lowered for the genuine interest of students and parents. It needs to be lowered so these families are not bombarded with student debt, and so universities see these families as a collective group of individuals and not a cluster of dollar signs, as it was put earlier. We have presented the solutions. Rebudgeting would allow the universities to cut back on tuition by avoiding construction of extravagant buildings and unnecessary research. Students should not have to carry the burden upon themselves to lower their own tuition. In other words, students should not be responsible for what is the duty of the universities. Now, what is there to do? As broke college students and indebted parents, it's crucial to come together and support the highly publicized yet left untouched subject of lowering tuition. We have to stop preaching about wanting our future children to attend college and start making it happen. Diversity will crumble if nothing is done. If that happens, the communication and interaction skills acquired from different cultures and backgrounds will be lost.
As you can see, the effect of college tuition goes far beyond just the financial aspect. There is also the mental and physical side effects of college tuition. You pay for stress. You pay to have a professor whose life goal is to ruin your life. You pay for long coffee-filled nights at the library. You pay for not having a guaranteed job when you graduate. And oh yeah, you also pay for an education. Everything extends from the price of college tuition, because once you send in that overpriced check, you immediately feel that the college owns you. My mother is 45 years old, and she's still paying off student loans. Whenever she went to school, she had 2 small children and was struggling to work during the day, go to college at night, and still take care of us. Do you think that the college knew what she was doing? Do you think the college cared what was happening at home? Or do you think they just saw the check, just saw the tuition check, and realized that she was just a dollar amount and not a person? It's when we can get the university to see that the students are people and not dollar signs that change will happen. I'm Logan, sophomore at University of Kentucky. I'm a civil engineering major, and I'm the first person in my family to go to college.
I'm Jessica, and I'm a freshman here at the University of Kentucky. My major is secondary English education, and I'm a prime example for my 4 younger sisters.
My name is Hunter, freshman at the University of Kentucky. I'm the second generation of my family to pursue civil engineering.
I'm Mike, engineering major at University of Kentucky. I currently serve in the United States Army and seek to continue that career path after college.